Hi there WarGamers, it's the DanBringa here, this time bringing you a basing tutorial for Kings of War Armada. I've assembled the things you're going to need for this tutorial in front of the camera for you to look at. So we've got obviously your base for the tutorial. Now me being the sensible person I have, went ahead and kind of got all my bases to this stage, which is basically just a blue, a variable blue surface for the for later on the stage, but obviously didn't leave one for this tutorial, so I'm going to be doing it on this this 30mm base. So we've got a blue oceanic blue primer. We've got some blues from model colour, and we'll go through each one as we come to it. So some UV resin and this fix-all high tack stuff that's mixes with what you mix with white spirit to do the water effects. Oh, and one thing, a white paint for the waves afterwards. So I'm going to go away and get this primed, and then we'll be back for the first, well, I say first step, it'll be second step technically. Right, see you soon. Right guys, now I've got it primed in that Stynol Res primer, which was Oceanic Blue, I think it was. Yep, Oceanic Blue. I've now got my some Prussian blue loaded up in the airbrush and a couple of drops of thinner to obviously make it come out the end. We're basically just going to cover the entire basin in this, so nothing complicated about this. I'm going to show you about my airbrush what's going on now. Yep. There we go. Just cover that up, and then we're going to leave that to dry, and then we'll come back with the next colour. Alright. See you in a tick when that's dried for me. Right guys, the Prussian blue has dried. Now it's time to put some flat blue down with the airbrush again. So I'm going to aim to not really cover 100% of this base, so I'm not really bothered if I miss a bit. Yeah, that'll do. Bit more, there we go. Adds a bit of depth. Gonna let that dry. We'll go almost up, blast that one more little time. I feel better now. So I'm gonna let that dry again, guys. I'll be back in a tick to add the final colour. Then we'll be back for some washes. Right, 2 ticks. Alright guys, the flat blue's dried, and it's now time for some ultramarine blue from model colour, again with the drops of thinner in there to facilitate flow and all that stuff. Again, we're not going to cover like 100% of this base. I'm just going to cover like purposely miss some areas, but still mostly covered, I suppose. There we go. That'll do. That's that done. So I'm going to let that dry. Then I'm going to come back for some final finishing touches with some washes. We've got some green and blue. I'm going to go for a green wash killer, green shade, and Drakenhof Nightshade. We're going to put that in patches, but obviously back in a second to show you what I'm doing with that. Right, see you soon. Right guys, that ultramarine colour's dried now, and it's time for going to spray some Drakenhof Nightshade wash on it. So just to put the odd little swirl here and there. Not too much there, never mind. There we go. Just simulating a bit of depth here and there. I'll let that dry now. Then we'll have some k.o.w green shade, however that's meant to be pronounced. Right guys, decided not to let it dry fully, just let it mix a little bit. If it happens, it happens. I'm going to spray some k.o.w green shade on next. Obviously going to aim for some areas that I haven't hit already and overlap a little bit if I have, some on the areas I have to some. There we go, so that's there we go, as much as little as you want, just to add some variation in colour there. Right guys, I'm going to let that dry fully now, and then we're going to stick our boats on to the bases, and it's on for the next step with the UV resin. Obviously it'll be a different base when you come to the rest of the tutorial, because obviously for some unforeseen reason I'd already done all my bases, but that's never here nor there. So back in a second with that bit, guys. See you soon. Right, guys, I've got the model stuck to the base now. There was a bit of a boo on one of the other ones on my two I've been doing at this time to with super glue, but a bit too much. I'm sure that won't matter too though, and once we've got the resin and then the water effect bit on. Anyway, so what the basically going to do is going to pour some water effects around the perimeter of the boat, and then spread it around with sticks so it covers basically all the blue parts of the base, and then goes right up against the ship. And so let's see if I can do this in camera. So apologies if it doesn't go on the shot, so basically just squeezing some out of this UV resin. So it's just basically just obviously don't want to go over the edges because that would be messy and it won't look right. Because we want our gaming pieces to be nice and framed by the base, so not still want them playable and even and looking nice. So there we go. That was underneath the. So it's quite thin, a very thin layer, barely any there. So what I'll just do is going to allow us to get rid of things like that big air bubble and just push it into the right against the ship. And if you need to, you can always put some more. No, there we go. Let's get rid of that. Don't want that bit on the edge of the base. And basically just pat it around until you're happy with where your resin is. The thing I like about UV resin is it won't cure until you fire your laser. Don't know what UV resin I have. Got your laser curing, anyway, your torch. So got it all nicely surrounding the boat. Oh, let's put it on shot. There you go. So all that's left now is to get my UV torch out and shine it at the. Oh yeah. That's a useful bit of the camera. Just caught a bit on the edge of the base that wasn't quite covered. There we go. So UV resin, or rather UV torch time. There we go. So I'm just going to go around shining my torch at this UV resin until it sets, and then we'll be on to the next stage, but I'll probably leave it like a day to do whatever it needs to do. There we go. So don't need to watch me doing this because it's very boring, just me just spinning the boat around with a UV light on it. Okay guys, catch you when it's ready for the next stage. Right, once we've got the UV resin cured there and left it for a bit to fully harden, it's time to get the waves on. So we're using this fix-all stuff. Believe it's just a clear adhesive in a caulking gun. It's got a SMX hybrid polymer, if that helps. So we'll just get a couple of pumps into this shot glass. Don't need too much because we're only doing a small area. There we go. One more pump. There we go. That should be plenty. There we go. Just put that to one side. And to make that a bit more malleable, we'll mix in some white spirit. Not too much, so just a little bit. This bottle's almost empty. There we go. It's probably too much actually. Right, so let's get my ship out of the way while I'm doing the mixing. So just going to mix this in so it becomes like a paste. Yeah, that'll do. That's the right kind of word. Yeah, at the moment, because obviously it's one big gloopy mess at the moment. So there we go, almost ready. Oh, after all that, it's just probably just about the right amount, really. So we're almost done. Almost ready. See what it looks like. Yeah, it's about ready, I think. Doesn't take long to do this. Or the word of advice, guys, for obvious reasons, if you mix it in something that you don't want to, you're not afraid to lose, because once this sets, this pot's going to be pretty much useless. Yeah. So it's looking a teensy weensy bit cloudy, but it does dry pretty much clear, or clear. I'm not entirely sure which, because I haven't really got one at the next stage to show you, because I put the white dry brush to simulate the spray and whatnot and the crashing of the waves. So now that's ready to go, I'm going to bring the ship back in and bring in the excuse me while I just knock everything over. Right, let's see if I can do this on camera. So I'm just going to get a little bit on the end of this. Tell you what, let's get a fresh stick so we can a bit of control. There we go. As he says, and he gunks it completely. Right then. So we've got a bit on the old stick, probably a bit too much there. There we go. And we're just going to go around the base and slap it on to start with. Not worried about the waves as much as at the moment. Just getting this material on. It's a bit easier than or rather quicker, should I say, than when I'm doing it off camera, because I normally hold the thing in the other hand, or rather the same hand that I'm holding the ship. There we go. Just going to go around the entire ship and get some, just around the entire ship. Obviously trying not to get it on the edge of the base like just after there, but it is what it is. Let's get a bit more light on. There we go, sorry about that, guys. There we go, that's better. So more on the edge. And the blue on the base is there to tint the, well, not tint, or applied depth, I'd say, more than anything else. And I'm not entirely sure how much of the blue we've done up to this point. The variation in shades and all that is showing through, but just in case, you know. There we go. Scrape that off the side. Don't want that there. Then we can worry about building up the waves at the front once we've got it all the way around. Go, so just make sure that's 100% covered around the front there before we move on to the next bit. So I'm just basically tapping it with the material on the stick. And I normally do these about 4 or 5 ships at a time, and that amount of adhesive will probably go that far. Or say do at least 1 or 2 of these size ships anyway, or rather 2 or 3 maybe actually. There we go, we're almost going to get it all the way around now. Let's put some more on the back there. There we go, need to get some more on the back. There we go, because it's not quite up to the back of the ship there. And my white tack's coming on. There we go. So, what we need to do now is do a bit of wave sculpting, so see if we can zoom in for a better shot there. Yeah, camera angle's not great, sorry guys. So at the moment it's just a bit wavy, I don't know. So what we're going to do is go around most of the base, add in additional material where we want the waves to be bigger. So this bit, the prow at the front, we need some in the front there, so we're going to put a bit more material, and you can basically just tap it with the stick and it'll make little crests at the front, or rather wherever you're sticking the... I've missed a huge bit there, haven't I? Ooh, good job for cameras. There we go. So just going around, adding little bits and flicking it up, scraping a bit more on, and flicking it up. Yep, a bit at the back. That overhanging aft section's not making it easy to show you. I do like how this actually looks like water, well, to me anyway. And I think the main job the UV resin's doing is allowing for mistakes in this section, I suppose. Because I suppose if I pull a section away from the base, as long as it isn't too big, it just looks like water, or just like a shallow bit, or a less wavy bit, or it allows you to be, it makes it much so it's more forgiving for you. There we go. Let's have a quick look at this closer up. Yeah, the front of the ship needs a lot more of this stuff. Bit of a weird design here for the Orc ship. There we go. So around the front now, just banging the sails on my tripod. And I'm not doing anything complex here. I mean, what you could do, you could brush it up a bit that way, so over when you looks like an arching wave. I mean, you add as much or as little of this stuff as you want until you're happy with what it looks like. I mean, I'm pretty much happy as it is, even though here I'm just sticking more and more on. And it might be a worthwhile thing to do is just smooth it down the edges with your finger. Or you could just wait till it dries and then scrape it off with a knife. Or leave it, it's up to you. Just I like a nice smooth base edge for my ships. Yeah, I think that'll do us. Reasonably happy with how those waves look. Sorry if it's really choppy, if you excuse the pun, on the old camera. Yeah. Yeah, let's put a tiny bit more in the front. And having said that, a tiny bit equates to quite a bit because it's such a small base. There we go, so just pushing up against the actual ship itself and tapping it up and down to basically pull it off and make little wave crests, or for lack of a better term. There we go. And there we go. I think that'll do. Probably zoom out so you can actually see what I've done. The next step of dry brushing some of the crests of the waves to make them look like the sea's rougher than it implies roughness. Yep, I just managed to pull all the stuff off the back. Wonderful. You know those times when you should just leave things alone? I think that was one of them. There we go. I think I brushed it a bit flat, made it a bit flatter at the back to emulate the calm you get behind a ship compared to the rest of the choppiness of the waves around the front. Right, I'm going to leave that for a good 24 hours to cure, then we'll be back in a bit to finish it off with a bit of a dry brush on the wave crests and a nice colour black border for the base, or whatever colour you decide you want to use, guys. Right, see you in a bit, guys. Right, as the glue has dried nicely on the base, it's time to tidy it where I went over the edge and get rid of this nasty rough edge. So I've got a nice bit of a nail file. Just going to take it down a bit and sand it back. Nothing too complex. Just get it as smooth as you like. Get rid of all that nasty material on the side of the base you don't want until you're happy with it. There we go, that's a bit nicer. I'm going to go around the other three sides and tidy this up, and I'll be back when it's for the next step. Right guys, once you've got the side of the base cleaned up as you'd like it, it's time to make the sea look a bit more wild, or give it a bit more, make it pop. Because at the moment it looks nice, but just it's missing that white spray kind of effect that they've got going on. So I'm using white scar, but obviously any white will do. And this could be a bit of a dry brush over those raised areas, and just less is more sometimes, so just do it like that. So there you go. It's probably light, it's a bit of a harbour on this thing. So basically just go around, giving it a little dry brush here and there, as much as you want. Depends how choppy you want the water to look. And just emphasising those waves and the sea. Excuse me, just saw a bit of a rough patch that I must have missed from the sanding. There we go. I think one more. Are we done? Maybe. A bit more over there. And I've not entirely sure how much this is coming off on camera, but it's only very slight, but it looks more striking in person, if that makes any sense. There we go, so makes those wave crests look a bit more realistic. There we go. I think that's done. I'm going to give that time to dry. Then they're going to go around the edge of the base with black and border it in. Now you don't really need to see me do that because you can show you can paint a black line. Right guys, back in a sec to show you what that looks like. Right guys, I painted all the white bits and I've obviously edged the bases, and they're looking I'd say done now. Obviously I've brought the other shipping that I've done as well to give you some variations of what you can do. I mean, I think I've built up the front on this one a bit more. Probably don't overdid the white maybe on this one, but it's alright, I like it. It's got a very choppy water on this one. And the other one. There we go, let's get that focused. Yeah, there we go. I do like how this turns out. There we go. I'm going to go do some, get some still photographs for you guys so you can see what it's like without my dodgy camera angle and whatnot. Okay guys, on the slideshow and all that. And thanks for watching. Drop us a like and a comment if you would, if that'd be great. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.